Welcome to the program, friend. There are two items that separate this show from virtually every other show on television or radio. Number one, we are theocentric. Number two, I advise you on what to do. That's it. There are some great hosts out there, but very few at the national level that are syndicated like this program. Very few are Christocentric, theocentric. That means Christ-centered, God-centered. We try and use the Word of God, the laws of God as the plumb line, okay? And the second thing is, I'm always encouraging you to do something. This is not merely a place to get information, but I want to be the philosophical arms dealer for the right-hand side of your brain to help motivate you to get out of your easy chair, out of your pew, and to fight for righteousness and justice. So as we look at the New Hampshire results, please understand those two issues of plumb line from God's laws and my encouragement to you to fight, they're going to be a part of the equation. All right. Bernie Sanders beat Hillary. He didn't beat her. He trounced her. 60-38. Now, the thing about Bernie Sanders is that he is an honest socialist. He's an honest socialist. When I watch him, I almost never get the feeling, if ever, frankly, that he's lying to me. This is a man who says, I'm going to tax the rich. I'm going to force I'm going to force taxpayers to pay for everyone's college education. Hillary, on the other hand, says, I'm like Bernie, and I'm going to fight Wall Street too. And you think to yourself, no, I really don't think you're going to fight Wall Street. After you retired as Secretary of State, knowing that she was going to run for president, she went and spoke to them and amassed some $675,000 in speaking fees. And we don't know how much some of the Wall Street fat cats gave to the Clinton Foundation. Okay? So when I listen to Hillary speak, I almost always feel like I'm listening to a deceiver, to someone who's lying to me. Something sinister is going on. Bernie Sanders, he's just right up front. I believe in killing babies. I believe in homosexual marriage. I believe in socialism. We're going to have universal health care, single-payer health care. We're going to have free college for everyone. And he said last night that they're going to greatly relieve student debt if he's elected. That means forgive, by the way, because if he got his wish and he had free college for everyone up to senior year in college, well, how can all those people that are paying year after year on their student loan, how can they have a different deal? They will figure out a way. Now, let me speak freely to you for a moment. All right? Here's the plumb line. The commandment of God says, the commandments say, 6 days labor, 7th day rest. The commandment of God says if a man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. The commandments of God say you shall not steal. The command of God says you shall not covet your neighbor's goods. Okay? You still with me? Communism and socialism, which is communism light, or communism on the half shell, communism and socialism are based on the predicate that you can earn your living off the sweat of another man's brow. Okay? It's a form of slavery. Now stay with me. Just stay with me. There are people in this country who do not have children, and they are forced to pay for other people's children to go to school. Right? We have free public education from K through 12. Some people are saying we should have the first 2 years of college. Some people like Bernie Sanders and all saying we should have all 4 years of college for an undergraduate degree, bachelor's degree. What's the difference? In other words, those of us who are conservative, those of us who are trying to maintain an equilibrium that shies away from socialism and towards freedom, we say, no, we don't want 4 years of free education for college. To which I say, why not? We already have K through 12. There's people who don't have any kids. They've got a gun to their head, and if they don't pay for their neighbors' kids to be educated in K through 12, they're going to lose their home. There's already federal money from federal income tax that's being taken from taxpayers and then redistributed to schools all over the country to pay for children K through 12. And then, on top of it, those of us who use private education or homeschooling for our children, we not only have to pay for other kids to go to school, we then still have to pay for our own children's education on top of it. Does that seem just to you? Well, if it seems just to you, then why not 4 more years? Why not college? I mean, let's be consistent. Or his insistence on a single-payer healthcare system. Taking the ethics aside right now, the ethics aside, we, according to Bernie Sanders' numbers, and Hillary for that matter, there's still 29 million people uninsured in America. That's not many. That's less than 10% of the population. Well, Medicare and Medicaid are entirely or partly picking up the bill for tens of millions of people. In other words, we already have socialized medicine. It just doesn't cover everyone. And the system is kind of weird because in addition to socialized medicine, we still have a private insurance industry, not to mention the pharmaceuticals that appear to be ripping people off. So we're a convoluted socialist mess, and we just need to admit it. We need to admit. Christians need to admit. Many of us need to admit. I believe in socialism. I believe in government education. I believe in Medicare. I believe in Medicaid. That we have to own it. The ethics aside. The ethics aside. So when we see someone like Bernie Sanders, and we're like, oh, I can't believe this. This is an outrage. Is it really? Or are we just shocked that somebody would be so honest about being a thief who covets another man's goods?